Welcome to another episode of Freedom from Alcohol. We were just talking off the air about, Matt and I are kind of geeks about wrestling. And so, a little known fact. I watched the WWE. They were in town. We live in Minnesota. They were in Minneapolis. SmackDown last week, which was awesome. And they're coming back in April. So I was just geeking out about that. So there you go. Lauren, your kids are into wrestling. Aren't they like local wrestling?
Yes, somebody's gonna just kill me for butchering this all to pieces, but like the amateur wrestling where it's like the WWE, they're jumping off the side, they're using chairs and tables, and they've got the bad guys and the personas and
Yeah,
and the outfits.
right,
It's
right.
local and it's like $7 a ticket. For us, it's at a local high school gymnasium.
Yes.
My kids freaking love it. I've been a couple times and I really enjoyed the people watching, and then the bad
Mm.
acting. I really enjoy that.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
one of the best parts. Yeah.
Like
It's
it's
so
so
bad it's good,
fun.
right? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
It's like, how do these people hold their heads up like so high? Like, what is this? It's so crazy.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's fun. And like for us, it's really cheap too. Like the concession stands are $1.50 for your Skittles and your Coke. It's not like this
Rad.
like $80 for your can of Pepsi at like the baseball games and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great night out. And then my husband has a good friend in town, and his boy is our kids' age, and they all go together now. And I take those nights off now. I've been a couple times, and now when I see it on the calendar, I'm like, "Ooh, what am I going to get into on this Saturday night? Because I'm going to be by myself, and that's
Mm.
fine with me."
Yep.
So
Yep.
I like to experience it all, but I don't have to stay in it if it's not for me. And that's actually something we coach to a lot for our new sober clients, because they are relearning like how to live a life, and they're going to find some things that just aren't for them anymore, and it's okay to let them go. Try it
Yep.
out, let it go, try it out, fall in love, stay with it. So
Yep.
yeah, but I'm not a geek like you guys over it.
No,
Well,
definitely a geek, guilty pleasure. Um,
definitely.
I used to like kind of shy away from telling people about it, but that's something I like because I've tried to
Yeah.
pull away from it, but it keeps sucking me back in. Because like when I was in high school, it was really big. It was the Attitude Era and the WWF back when it was called that, and The Rock and
Stone
Stone
Cold
Cold
Steve
and all that.
Austin. Yeah.
And so it was so big that in our theater class in high school, I said, I got us to put together a wrestling. We did a whole skit. We built a ring. We had entrance music. I came out
It's
to Papa
tremendous.
Roach. Like it was just like, it was great. And then I set it up so that our theater teacher turned heel. That means like she turned like the bad guy. Like
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
was like
yeah.
cheering for her. And then she kicked me in the crotch, hit me over
Oh
the
man.
back with a chair. The whole
Swerve.
the whole place went nuts. Oh, it was I freaking loved it, man.
That's awesome. I don't know about you, Chris. Like I definitely when I was younger, I visualized myself as a wrestler. Was that the same for you? Sounds like it. I mean, you
Oh
were
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
we would
visualized
get on
stuff.
the trampoline. I don't know how nobody broke anything. We would do, body slams and all this stuff
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
freaking trampoline. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it was nuts. So
Yeah,
don't try
absolutely.
this at home though, by the way, if you're
That's
listening,
right.
because
Yeah.
some of that stuff gets crazy. All right, what are we
We're
talking
all
about?
above 40. We're not doing any of that at home anymore.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
see what I was trying to do is segue us into the topic, Chris. When I said the
I loved it.
visualized. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't even
And
pick up on that. I was
I
so in
got
my
you.
that,
zone
right.
about it. But you're right.
You went
That
back
is
to the
what we're talking
trampoline.
about.
Yeah.
We're talking about the power of visualization. And yes, I saw myself as a teenager with the tights and everything. And the no, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. But that is what we want to talk about today and focus on how it's something I think maybe gets overlooked when people try to quit drinking. They don't really take the time to visualize what they want on the other side of alcohol, right? Like what does that look like for them? Why are they doing this? Why are they going through it all? And one of the things that we work with our clients on in our first session all the time is visualizing the life that you want, and it can be really really powerful. And there's a story that I love sharing with our clients. And so it was a study that was done back in 1996 in Chicago, and they took 30 random strangers off the street. They had them come in and just shoot free throws, right? Basketball free throws, and they recorded their scores. And so afterwards, they separated them into three groups of 10. And so they said the first group, all right, you guys don't do anything for the next 30 days. Don't pick up a basketball, don't even think about it, just go about your daily lives. The second group, though, they said, come in and shoot free throws and practice it for 30 minutes every day, physically doing and shooting the free throws. In the third group, they said, you don't have to come in, you don't have to touch a basketball, but we just want you to close your eyes and visualize yourself at the free throw line hitting free throws for 30 minutes a day for the next 30 days. And so what's really interesting is after the 30 days, they came back and the results were, the first group who didn't do anything with it, their scores stayed the same. Like there was nothing there. But the second group, who was physically practicing shooting the free throws every day, improved their original scores by 24%. But the third group, again, not actually shooting free throws, just visualizing it, improved their scores by 23%. So literally only 1% less than the group that physically was shooting the free throws. So it's such a powerful story and study that I love to share with people, because we may not really think about visualizing and how powerful it can be, but people in sports use it all the time. Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, like the people that are at the top of their game, it's not an accident how they got to where they are, right? They spend a lot of time picturing themselves winning the gold, winning the championship, sinking the putt, whatever it may be. And it's because it works, right? And so if you want to break free from alcohol, it's really important that you understand what you want on the other side of this thing. And so you can visualize just by even just closing your eyes, playing a movie in your head. You can, some people do a vision board. When I stopped drinking, I had a binder and I had pictures in it of the life, everything I wanted it to look and feel like, right? So that I would look at that every morning. I'd wake up, I'd spend at least 5 minutes, and I would have sayings in there, I'd have affirmations in there, all the things that I wanted to come into my life. And I would just visualize that. And the key with that is acting as if it's already in your life, right? Not as it's this thing that's out there and you're hoping that'll come in and happen, but really feeling like all of it is already there, and really getting wrapped up in feeling like, who are you with? What are you doing? How are you feeling? What are the sights? What are the sounds? What are the smells? Like really getting into it. The more clear you are on what you want, the better. Because if you're kind of vague about it, like, I want to be healthy, and I don't know, I'd like to make a lot of money, or whatever, if it's kind of vague like that, it's like getting into an Uber and giving the driver 4 different addresses. Like, he's going to kick you out. Doesn't know where to go, right? Getting in the Uber, giving one clear address. This is where we're going. And it doesn't mean you have to know everything like that day. Like, oh, well, I don't know exactly what I want. Well, that's okay. Just start dreaming. Allow yourself to start feeling and bringing it into your life. And it'll get clearer and clearer if you are um, doing it every day. What's consistent? That's the word I was looking for. Consistent about it. Doing it on a regular basis. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that here as we go on. But that's one of the things we always have our clients do to really begin. And it's important not to even really bring alcohol into the equation, right? Like, we don't have to go, I'm not drinking, I'm sober. Pretend as if that's already done. Like, you're a non-drinker. That's not part of you anymore, because our brains don't really know the difference. And so if we bring alcohol into the equation, it gets kind of confused. So just don't even have alcohol anywhere in the equation. Just focus on the things that you do want in your life. So Matt, have you used the power of visualization in your journey?
I definitely have, and I'll use the one that I realized this year had come to pass, because like sometimes you can just set them and forget them, right? On a daily basis for short-term goals, I tend to revisit them fairly often with journaling or even like meditation and visualization that way. But this one in particular I want to share, I totally forgot about. So basically what I'd done is, like 5 years ago, I put something in my calendar, the countdown calendar, the app on my phone, that suggested that Darcy, my wife, and I and our dogs were going to move specifically to Maple Ridge, which is an area just outside of Vancouver. And I put it 5 years ahead of time, and even had like the exact date. And it was like June of 2024. And at the time it was 5 years in the future. And it was all based on like a day of like researching the area, right? I was still in my old job by then. And at the time we were like, okay, well, we know that head office from both our jobs at the time is down in this area. We wanted to make our way down here. So I started just kind of scoping out the area, and I'd never really considered this like, I knew Maple Ridge existed, but I had never looked into it. And then that whole day I was just doing all these different like searches for it, and I was journaling about it. And then I located Maple Ridge, and I noticed it's quite a bit more affordable than most of the area. Vancouver, notorious for being incredibly expensive, for housing. And there's these beautiful parks and all that. I'm like, what about Maple Ridge? And I went and showed Darcy all these different places. So we did the whole thing, like the unpackaging and talking about it and putting it out there. And then I set it in my calendar just as like a sort of trivial thing to do. And I completely forgot I'd even put it in there. And we actually made it down here 2 months before that that just sort of I threw that out there as a date. 2 months before, like, almost 5 years to the day
Yeah,
for me putting
buddy.
it in there, right?
How
And,
about how about
I
that?
completely forgot about it. And it's a house, right? And everybody's like, "Well, you're not gonna be able to afford a house down there," and all this other stuff. And we made it work. So, just turning out some of the noise too, and just going, okay, well, no, what do you want? What do I want? And focus on that, and you get what you focus on, right? So it's just really a case of that. And I guess finish off the thought with, there's ways to be persistent. I think the universe loves persistence, and to your point, Chris, consistency. I love that, like just showing up and being in alignment every day. There's something to be said for that, and there's something to be said for just having that North Star that you've pitched out there, and you're moving towards it, but sometimes you almost forget you're moving towards it. Like I say, I completely forgot how specific I was. I even had the age of myself, Darcy, the two dogs, and it was like everything was bang on. So yeah, I wanted to share that because that definitely that all happened, and we're living a great life now down here, and it's yeah, it's pretty cool to reflect on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's you get what you focus on, and that reminds me of and I can't think of the guy's name right now, but it's from the book or the movie The Secret, and the guy has a vision board and he has a picture of the house that he wants to move into.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
right.
then like years down the road, his son is unpacking this box and he sees this vision board, and the house that he had the picture of is literally the house that he ended up moving into, and he didn't even
Right.
realize it. Like
Totally.
that just totally reminded me of that, because it is really cool and powerful on when we give our brains something to focus on. They really do.
Hmm.
There's the reticular activating system, and you've heard this probably before. Like you buy a red car and then you see a red car everywhere because it's
Hmm.
what is on the front part of your mind, and so your brain will look and seek out these things. And so we really have the power to bring what we focus on into our life. And so this is why the power of visualization and figuring out where you're going, what you want, and bringing that into your life is important. Because otherwise, when we're drinking, we're focused on, oh, this sucks, and we get into victim mentality, and everything about the world sucks, and that's where we're putting our attention. So of course we're going to get more of that into our life, right? And so we have to be intentional about, let's visualize where we want to go, what we want to be, and all that kind of stuff, so that it can actually, we can give our brains something to work towards. I mean, have you seen this in your life, or what are your thoughts on this, Lauren?
Oh yeah. Yes. So it's so interesting in the movie The Secret, that guy who ends up in the exact same house that he had on his vision board when he had first started doing vision boards. And what blows my mind is that he didn't recognize that he was in that house later, because I would have such a
Mm.
feeling of freaking deja vu every time I pulled in. I
Right.
can't imagine that, like, that's so shocking to me. I don't know if that's crazy. But I think it was like an 8-year difference or something, 5 or 8 years. And he had just randomly cut this out of a magazine, right? Like it was a magazine picture that he saw in some Home Digest magazine or something. He's like, yeah, that looks amazing. Let's put that on the vision board. And then a couple years later, he's living that in house. Oh, so cool. So one of the things that I see in our coaching, we run from pain. So when I ask my clients, what do you want? I'll hear things like, well, I want to be a non-drinker. I don't want this life. I want to not be hungover. I want to be healthy. But again, vague, but also telling me all the things they don't want. So when we're doing this visualization, or we're like focusing on, I don't want to be a drinker, the reticular activating system, like to your point, Chris, is going to think drink, drink, drinker, drinker. And when you said like, hey, when we're visualizing, don't even bring alcohol into it, because your subconscious hears alcohol, yay. It doesn't know that you're using it, and like, I don't want alcohol. It just hears the word alcohol. So in my experience, I like to twist everything into a positive. Instead of saying, I don't want to be sick and hungover, it's like, I want to have abundance in my health.
Mhm.
So you can cut out that word alcohol. So we run from pain. And so we're visualizing, what do you want? What do you want? Well, I don't want to be broke. Well, what does your subconscious hear? Broke, no money. So you're almost asking to be broke for longer, right? So in my experience, we flip it around. And so when I'm doing visualizations, I've done a visualization where I spent a couple weeks doing this, and it has not come to fruition in a cool way like what this guy in The Secret did, or like Matt, your experience with Vancouver. But when I visualize, I'm visualizing myself living in the specific house that I want. I'm visualizing myself doing the day to day, like I'm going to yoga, I'm dropping the kids off at school, because those are the things I know will be a steady, and I want them to be a steady in my life. So kind of living the life as if in my brain, just a giant daydream where I'm already living in it. And we've seen, even as a group together, we did a book club where we focused on manifestation once with our members of our paid program, the Freedom from Alcohol coaching program. And we were manifesting all sorts of stuff just through the power of visualizing. We all found buttons and trinkets and cool things that we were looking for, and just really
You
cool.
kept
So,
getting money in the mailbox. Yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, that was me. Yeah. And it's funny because then somebody mentions that to me and I'm like, why am I still not doing that? Because we forget. And maybe I'm not in enough pain right now to remember to do my practices. So the consistency is definitely something I could do some working on. But so that's my take on it, is just making sure we're visualizing the positives, because the brain doesn't know, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what I do want and what I don't want. So if I'm focusing on it, it assumes, let's bring more of that to the table.
Yeah.
So if I'm focusing on a relationship that's bad and I'm focusing on only the things that are like really yucky about it, then that's what I'm going to get more of. So
Yeah.
instead, I could visualize what I would like that relationship to look like, and then start to watch that kind of unfold.
Yeah. And a lot of the times when we're drinking, we're in such a dark place that it's hard for us to even imagine a life being different than the way that it is. I talk to people all the time and I'm like, tell me what you want out of this. Like, if we're able to help you, and what does that life look like? And it's like, I don't even know. I can't imagine it. Right. Because alcohol puts us in such a dark place that we feel like it's going to be this way forever. And honestly, it's not. Right. You can control what you want your life to do. It's the story that you're telling yourself can change at any time, right? If your life is bad right now because you're struggling with alcohol and you can't seem to get away from it, that doesn't have to continue to be your story, right? You can change it and you can go have whatever life you want. And it's, there's the two most important ways to reprogram your subconscious. We talk with our clients about this all the time, is repetition and emotion. And so again, the consistency part of it is doing it every day. And there's two times of day that are your subconscious is more susceptible to change, and that is right before you fall asleep and first thing in the morning. So those are two great times to really do the visualization. So that's the repetition if you do it on a daily basis. Because if you do it once or maybe a couple times a week, it's not going to be nearly as powerful if you're doing it every day. Like, set aside 5 minutes a day, play the movie in your head. Don't tell me you don't have 5 minutes a day, right? If you can scroll through social media, if you can do all this other shit, you can plan the life that you want and visualize it. It's actually really fun. And the other part of it is emotion, right? So repetition and emotion. So when you're visualizing, make sure that the emotions are you're really feeling them as if it's already happening. Allow yourself to smile, allow yourself to feel like at peace and at ease, and whatever the picture is that you're visualizing, really feel it and jump into it. And the more you do that, the more your brain and your subconscious will start working towards it, because the subconscious is all about images and pictures. And so when you can create those clear pictures, it gives it something to work towards. And it's just really, really cool how much your life can change as long as you're being intentional about it. And I think that's the biggest miss with whether you're trying to quit drinking or whatever. Most of the people, when we want to make a change in our lives, we're not intentional about it. We think about it, we think it's way out there, maybe it'll happen, I don't know. But we're not intentional about actually going after it and taking the action with it. So if you do these things that we're talking about, man, it's really, really powerful stuff.
Yes.
Definitely. I wanted to share, so Michelangelo, he created that statue David. So I wanted.
Oh, I thought you were
sort of-
talking about the Ninja Turtle. Okay, gotcha.
Well, him
No,
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
making
yeah.
sure.
He's,
Yeah.
yeah. He,
All right.
party animal, that guy. Let me tell you.
Did he anybody know what his weapon of choice was?
Nunchucks.
There
Clearly,
you
yeah.
go. Of course.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
You
I
guys
went.
get a
I went as
cookie.
him as Halloween. So I remember I had my own nunchucks for a while. It was a dangerous
Oh,
thing
so
to give
you
a
act
kid.
you
Let me
you
tell
went
you.
as the turtle and not
I did.
the other guy. Okay, all right.
No, yeah. Yes, yeah. I think we're getting it on path. So Ninja Turtle Michelangelo once. Why? No, okay. Michelangelo is the artist. Was interviewed about the sculpture David, right?
Hold
So
on. A wise turtle once said.
yeah,
No.
a wise
you go.
turtle once said. Yeah, exactly. Pizza is tremendous. Yes, that was it.
Which is true.
Yeah. Remember, I don't know. They just loved pizza, those guys, didn't they?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So anyway, Reset. We'll try one more time. Artist Michelangelo, decidedly not the Ninja Turtle, was once interviewed and just asked about like, what did you do to create David? So it's like this slab of marble, and you've just created this amazing life-size statue. And he said, well, it was easy. All I did was remove everything that wasn't David. I had a visualization of what David looked like, and all I did was remove everything that wasn't David. And then all that was remaining was David. So
Wow.
to Lauren's point, it's like, yeah, it's so much easier to realize what we don't want in a relationship, right? What we don't want in a job, what we don't want in our life. And that's where those negations come from, right? So then it's okay, after you get that out of your system and externalize that, and maybe journal it, list it down, whatever, what's left? Or start doing, okay, what's the opposite of that, right? So if you're having a hard time visualizing something, like what you were saying, Chris, happens a lot of time on the call that you have, like, oh, I can't even picture it. Get that out of your system, externalize all those like negations of like, I don't want this, I can't have that. And then what's left? So just use the Michelangelo statue suggestion. And then also visualize the Ninja Turtle, if that helps.
Yeah, yeah. I dig it. I love it. This is bringing me back to my childhood. I mean, we're talking about wrestling. We're talking about Ninja Turtles.
I love it, man.
Hell yeah, cowabunga.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
Lauren,
Tremendous.
quiz. Can you name the other 3 Ninja Turtles? Let's see.
Raphael,
Yep.
Michelangelo,
Yep.
Donatello,
Yep.
and
Come on, you got it. Starts with an L.
Yeah.
Leonardo.
There you go. Bing,
There
bang,
you
go.
boom.
Nailed it.
yeah.
All right.
I watched them growing up too, 9 a.m. every morning on school days, because we had like a late start in elementary school.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
they were
okay.
on from like 8:30 to 9:30. So I watched them every morning, then walked to school.
Oh, yeah.
Uphill in the snow both ways, of
Yeah,
course.
of course. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we remember this. Chris,
Yeah.
can you recite any of the song, the theme song of the Ninja Turtles?
Heroes in a half shell.
Yeah.
Turtle power.
Power. Yeah.
That's the part that I remember.
Right? That's the hook.
Yeah.
They're the world's most fearsome fighting team. Heroes in a half shell, and they're
And
green.
they're green.
Yeah, see, Lauren's got it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. Nice.
Right?
I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
And the bad guy's name is
Shredder.
Oh yeah, Shredder.
And then you got Splinter.
Splinter was the rat. Yeah.
And then April, the
April
news
O'Neil,
reporter, right?
wearing
There you
all
go.
yellow for some reason. Yeah, yeah. By the way, actually, this is a good combining wrestling with Ninja Turtles trivia. What was the wrestler who played Super Shredder in Ninja Turtles 2, the movie?
Was it
yeah.
Kevin Nash?
Correct. Nicely
Big
done.
Sexy?
Big
Yeah.
Sexy was Super Shredder. Nicely done.
Wow, I love it. Tying it all together.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. All
So
right.
the moral of the story is don't drink, visualize positively, and let's all go watch the Turtles, because aren't you
Yeah.
guys dying to go like veg out in front of the TV now, like
Yeah.
under a warm
A
blanket?
bowl of
watching
cereal,
the-
maybe, right? Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get Captain Crunch out.
Cereal?
Yeah.
Hey,
Although-
Captain Crunch has berries only cereal now.
Ooh, oh, that'd be
Damn,
good.
B.
That would be
And they
nice.
call it the oops. It's like oops, all berries. Like they forgot to put the
Yeah.
regular Captain Crunch
Little
in. It
mistake
is
there, yeah.
fantastic. I am
The
not being
production line.
paid by General Mills or whoever produces that, but
Not yet.
But they could
Not
send
yet.
you
Thank
a couple of free boxes if they wanted to. You know, if
Right?
somebody's
Visualize,
listening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
right? Visualize that.
Exactly. There you go. All
I
right.
love free ship the mail.
Fantastic.
Let's go.
So if you're listening to this and you know, you're getting some nostalgia, I hope you're getting that, but also some takeaways here about the power of visualization, and you've struggled to stop drinking. Maybe you've tried traditional methods or whatever, just white knuckling it, and it's just not working for you, but you really know you could have the life that you wanted on the other side of alcohol. You need some help. That is exactly what we do with our clients in our Freedom from Alcohol program. And so the best way to get in touch with us is go to coachbychris.com, and you can hear from some of our past clients. You can see how we work with people, the 3 pillars that we have, and all that kind of stuff. And if it feels like it's a good fit, set up a call with me. We'll hop on a Zoom call to see a little strategy session to see if we can help you. And if we can, we'll let you know exactly how. And we have a 96% success rate. I'll toot our own horn a little bit here because our clients are amazing. And if you're ready, we can absolutely get you to the other side of this thing. And we love doing it. We're all passionate about it, almost as much as we are passionate about the Ninja Turtles. So there you go. Go to coachbychris.com. And thank you so much for listening. Leave a 5-star review. Write something if you are enjoying this. It helps push this out to more people. Share it with somebody who you think could get value from it. And thank you for listening. We'll end it there. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week on another episode of Freedom from Alcohol.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.